Thrifty Crocheter, and I hope all of you are doing well today. Oh, goodness, hope all of you are doing well today. Um, this morning, we did devotions. Uh, out of our three favorite books today, 365 Days of Devotions, Daily Guidepost for Grandmothers, and Illustrated Words of Jesus for Women. I'm back to doing the daily devotions. And I just did another tutorial on a pattern, the herringbone double stitch, the herringbone double crochet pattern. It's a new one for me, and I know that people out there can do it better than I am, but I did it as well as I could, well as I was understanding the instructions. That is, um, Critters Crochet, and I'm not stepping on her toes by any means. The other day, it was on either on her channel or the Spoony Stitcher channel. She was talking about wanting to do these patterns to see um, if it does take only 24 hours to make a project in here. And I was like, oh, I have that book. And what's funny, it was I was already working on, I was in the middle of working on that project when she was talking about it. I went looking for it, and I'm like, I know I have this book. And then as I was working on it, went to open it, I'm like, there it is. It was in my mouth the whole time. Um, but one, I am in the middle of working on this one. Around the block Afghan. Um, Now I don't know if it truly takes only, if it does take one day, but it says time to make 23 hours and 55 minutes, and it's a 50 by 50 square. It uses a size eye hook, and they use one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They use 10 different colors. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's what they did. Here is mine thus far. I think the last time I showed you this, I was like here, maybe here. I don't know. I guess right here, maybe. But it's definitely bigger, and I'm starting to do the repeat of colors. So it's almost there. I'm almost done. Maybe about one more set of colors, and then it'll be done. But like I said, I'm not stealing her thunder, but I just wanted to show her what one of the projects could look like when it's finished or nearly finished. One of the yarns I'm using is Burnett's Super Value, color yellow. Red Heart, Raspberry. Red Heart Super Saver, Iran. There's a couple other colors, but it's kind of give that fiery kind of coloring, nice warm colors. Like I said, I'm not trying to steal her thunder, but I just thought I'd show her what it looked like. And then also, from Just Vintage Crochet, the 1861 Afghan pattern. It is done with Tunisian crochet, and I've already got the first three squares done. And I am working on a fourth. And what I am doing with that is a friend of mine from work gave me a bin of yarn. I'm still trying to detangle some of it, but I'm using her yarn to make this blanket. Then when you put all the, okay, here, let me show you two of them. When you put my squares together, I'm going to use single crochet, and then there's going to be, like right here is the other one. Okay. And then where the four will meet, there's going to be like a little circle right there. And then where they all meet each time, it's going to be another circle. And then I'll have a border. But this is how they're looking so far. And I am working on those with, I have a set of bamboo double-sided crochet hooks, double-ended crochet hooks, and I'm using a 5mm. I got these for Christmas a few years ago, and they came in this pretty velvet bag, and that's where I keep them. So nothing gets to them. Also, I have been showing you lately how to do stitches in here. Now, if you ever buy this, there is a booklet in here. And this booklet is extremely important. Do not, if you buy the box, do not lose this booklet ever. Because in the instructions for some of these stitches, it says, see such and such page for that stitch. So, like today, we did herringbone double crochet, and it gives the instructions on how to do it. So, also with this unique deck of cards, they give you a stitch conversion chart between US and the UK. And then they also do same thing, only with the hook sizes, metric sizes, UK sizes, and US sizes, which I think is marvelous. If you have not caught my videos, hang on. Here's what we have learned so far. The linen stitch, the ripple stitch, primrose, houndstooth, shell, granny stripe, grit, brick, and today was a herringbone double crochet. Um, and then I am trying to work on my next stitch. Still having a little trouble with it, but once I get that down, then I will show you the next one as well. We've only got a few more left of these simple stitch combinations, and then after that, we'll be getting into, well, actually, still got quite a bit of those. Then after getting into that, then we'll be into textured stitches, and that's going to be really fun once we get into textured stitches. Hope everybody is having a very awesome day. And I told you about this before, but last week when I went thrift shopping, I also went to some regular bookstores, and I found the Granny Square card deck. So once we get done with learning the stitches, then we're going to get into these. And what is really awesome, and I can't wait till it comes out. Ooh, where's the thingy? Right after the booklet, it says coming in summer of 2025, the floral Granny Square card deck. So this summer there's going to be a floral one with flowers in it. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait for that. That's this summer. Whew. So, like I said, I hope all of you are having a great day. Today is Thursday, April the 3rd. I hope you guys are having a good day. And today, well, yesterday, I woke up yesterday with thunderstorms. Then it quit raining. And then when I got off work, there were thunderstorms and hints of tornadoes. But at least our area, thankfully, did not get hit with tornadoes. Although other places in my state did get hit with tornadoes, which is sad. But today, it's been a little bit chilly. Been in the upper 50s. But it's been windy, so it's been a little chilly. And hopefully it doesn't rain tonight, but they were talking about rain. I'm much as I like rain, I also a little tired of rain already. But I'm just glad we don't have snow, because there was a live that I was watching last night, and they're up in Canada, and they were having snow and ice, and I'm like, well, at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm sorry for you, but glad we're not getting that right now. Because I know we are all sick and tired of snow and ice, because it's supposed to be spring, not winter. At least here in the United States, it's supposed to be spring and not winter. It's spring right now. But I live here in the Midwest, and here in the Midwest, you never know what you're going to get. Never know what for spring and fall. Those are the ones that you never know what kind you could experience all 4 seasons in 1 week, or 2 seasons in 1 day. That's about how that goes. Oh, I just realized the last 3 days, today and the last 2 days, I forgot to end my devotion with my little prayer cross. I have to remember to do that tomorrow. That is another thing that I am also working on. I have in here a lot of prayer squares I have already made. And I have my bag of yarn down there. I'm going to make some more prayer squares. I'm going to make like a little prayer attached to them, and put them out everywhere for the public. Decade Divas is coming up, and I signed up to be a Decade Diva. And this year it is the 70s, which is perfect because I was born in the 70s. I was born in the 70s. So I'm excited. Um, Actually, I did pick out a project that actually came. And what's funny, I've seen the same project and two different, exact same project in two different books. And if you've seen my past videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, uh, but they're both the pattern books actually come from the 70s. So I'm working on a 70s project from a 70s book. So how perfect is that? Um, but I can show you. I don't know if it's here. I might have it put up. To be very honest with you, I do. I think I have it put up, but one of the projects put up that I made for my mom a long time ago, which was this huge uh, pot holder of sorts, or more or less. Actually, I don't have a pot holder, but you can put like your pan on top of it, and you're putting it on the table. Um, that might be put up somewhere, but I can show you this bag that I made for my mom that actually came out of another 70s book that I made for my mom a few years ago for Mother's Day. She passed away last summer. So I'm hanging on to this as a memento. Um, it's, I had to buy, I bought those from, I think it was like Joann's or something. Um, but this is done all in one. This is all one just one, it's all one. you start, with whichever handle you want to start with, and then you just make your pattern, and then you finish off on the other side, on the other one. It's not that hard, not that difficult. Um, and then you would crochet this, crochet the sides, turn it, and then you're done. I mean, it really wasn't that hard. Um, Although it is three, I did use three strands. It is three strands together. I will say that. But this is not my project for Decade Divas. I have a whole nother project for Decade Divas. Um, what else? I don't know. That's terrible. That's terrible. Trying to think. Oh, this was a unique book that I also got at the bookstore last week. Creative Crochet in a Day. And it literally, I know I showed this to you before. It literally has each day. I'm going to show you this front page. Here we go. It literally shows you each day of the week and various projects to make over the course of that day. And so I'm going to figure out how we're going to be doing that together. I mean, obviously, a lot of these smaller projects could be done in a day, but I don't know about some of these bigger ones because there's some blankets in here, and I didn't know way I could get a whole blanket done in one day. Not me. I'm a slow crocheter. A lot of doilies in here. There's a tissue holder. There's a jar topper. There's a hat. Like I said, a lot of doilies. Oh, the star. There's some star snowflakes. There's some snowflakes. Like for ornaments. Ooh, towel edgings. When I say towel edgings, it reminds me of at my grandmother's house. Because my grandmother did that with her towels. She took some nice kitchen towels and added edgings to them and turned them into curtains in her bathroom, in her downstairs bathroom. That's what that reminds me of. And the thing is this book really isn't that old. I mean, it looks older, but it really isn't. Yeah, it was just copyrighted in 2002, but you would swear by some of these projects that this was a lot older book, but it isn't. It really isn't that old, um, which is kind of funny. At least in my opinion, it's funny. Um, One of the neater, well, this project, I'm really kind of mad at myself for. I'm got to rip. I have to frog it and rip it. Um, this was a true crime blanket from okay, let me know. Fiber Floozy Crafts, Scrap and Crime, and I've been keeping notes. I'm losing my page. I'm losing my pieces of paper now. Trying to keep notes so that when I go to remake this, when I go to remake it, then it'll come out better. I think these notes are on my. Nope, that goes with the fiber floozy. Okay, that goes with fiber floozy. Okay, these are my fiber floozy notes. Gotta keep notes. These notes were for my cardigan. You guys have seen my cardigan, my blue and white cardigan that I made, the granny cardigan. But anyway, so I messed up, and I don't know how I did it, but it started out roughly, rough, not roughly, but it is a little roughly, but roughly about this size, and then it somehow like really got big. Somehow, somewhere, I added way too many stitches. So, I'm frogging and frogging. And I have to start completely over. Really mad at myself. I don't know where I went wrong, where I misunderstood something. Somehow, somewhere, I put in way too many stitches. So, in fact, there was one day, I think I did it on a Wednesday or something, and I called it Rip It Wednesday. It might have been while I was on vacation. I said, let's do a Rip It Wednesday. I was doing, back in March, I took a couple of weeks off, and so I was doing a lot of videos then. I'm going to go ahead and rip these rows out in these colors. I used a lot of, I started out with Ogo yarn, and the one particular Ogo yarn that I started with was a little, even though it says it's a 4-weight, it seemed a little bit on the thicker side, so that's why I decided to put 2 yarns together. So it would kind of equal the thickness of that Ogo yarn. I don't know, maybe that was another mistake, because I don't know. I am still doing a lot of second guessing myself. I don't know. Right now, it's just going to be set aside. It's been sitting aside for a little while. But I have to get this all all frogged out before I can completely start over. Wee, 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 all the way home. Wee, 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 all the way home. Okay. Yeah, I'm a silly person. If you don't know that by now, I'm very, very silly. Um, and especially when I'm reading the devotions to you guys and my videos. Anytime, anytime something reminds me of a line in a commercial, TV show, a song on the radio, I automatically say it. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. Um, and I'm going to be even more mad at myself because I really should be trying to ball this at the same time I'm unraveling this. But, yeah, no. I'll probably be working on that after I get done with this row here. But yes, besides doing this, I showed you the Around the World blanket. Ooh, okay, okay. The Around the World blanket um, that I'm working on out of, making a project within 24 hours. But I've been working on that blanket for a little while now. And hey, Camille. Yeah, that's true. I'll be happier with this blanket, with the crime blanket once I'm done with it. Um, I've got the blue yarn on the ball winder, so I'm trying to wind that up real fast before my yarn decides to tangle, because this white yarn is already starting to tangle. Um, so far, this blue yarn wants to cooperate. So how are all you guys doing today? I hope you all are having a very fabulous day. See, I can see, yep, right there. I'm just gonna ball this up. I should say. There we go. And most of this yarn that I was using for that project is just yarn because I have so much of it. I need to pull this out. Ooh, sorry. Sorry. I need to pull the rest of this purple and this white out so I can get this white started. Oh, no. Don't you snag. There we go. It snagged a little bit. That is not good. That is never good. Um, Another thing I need to get done. I showed you guys before. I found these little corner shelves. Oh, there we go. Yeah, let me get this purple out of this way. I'll lay this white. Goodness, this is going to take me a minute. So Okay, there. Oh, the heck? Okay, there. This white on the ball winder. Put this up for now because it really is a true crime to have to frog an entire project. If you want to, but but seriously, on her channel, um, she actually reads. It's like once a week she reads true crimes, um, and then while she's reading the story, she'll crochet or knit a project, work on a project. So Camille's Creations, she's a lot of fun to watch. She usually comes on in the evenings. She's really cool. She's a lot of fun. She does a lot of, she does her lives, like I said, in the evenings. Well, for me, it's in the evening. I'm not sure it's an evening for her, but it's an evening for me. Because with time zones and all that. But whew, last night though, we were having those thunderstorms and tornado watches. Heard some sirens, like police firing was kind of thing, and I saw some flashes of light, like from said sirens, but thankfully they weren't down our street, or they might have been. Could have been a housing addition, so maybe they were maybe a few streets over. Oh, I think my yarn just got in a knot. That is not going to be fun to detangle, because it was getting tangled. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o. See? Okay. I'm going to set that down before I get mad. Before I get mad. Back to my squares. These are done in Tunisian crochet, so yes, it does curl. 24 stitches across, 23 high, and then I did a single crochet border around. Then I'm going to do a single crochet to sew them together, and then I'm going to put a border on the outside, and then there's going, and like I said, I'm using the yarn. A friend of mine from work gave me this little bucket of yarn down here, and to repay her kindness, I'm taking said yarn, and I've already got 3 of the squares done. Working on a 4th. It's from, and the pattern that I took it from was from Just Vintage Crochet, and it's the pattern 1869 Vintage Afghan, 1869 Vintage Crochet Afghan tutorial or something like that. And it's really easy, and they work out really fast, which surprised me. Now, it didn't surprise me that they curl, because it will curl. I mean, that's Tunisian. Tunisian just does that. Then once I get the squares, all put together, then the curling will go completely away. So I'm not really that worried. But I know she'll appreciate it. I want to give it to her. It's going to be for her and her kids. So I know they will definitely appreciate it because she's a single mom, and she said she was gonna try to do like crochet or knitting, and she tried it and it just wasn't for her. But she likes to do other crafts, but this one would just but crocheting and knitting just was not her. And crocheting and knitting isn't for everybody. Like I like to crochet, but I don't like to knit. I also like to loom knit. I've got one on an S. I've showed it many times. I have a blanket on an S loom. Um, it's about finished. I keep telling myself that it's about finished, but I keep working on it. Um, it's like one of those lies we tell ourselves when we're working on the project. Yeah, it's almost done, and it's nowhere near finished. I keep adding to it. Technically, it could be done now, but I keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it because it's going to be for me. So, because purple's my favorite color. Um, okay, I'm trying to see where some of this is going. I know I just put this down because I was starting to get mad at it, but I was seeing it messed up. It's going to make me even more angry. You ever feel like when you're trying to untangle yarn, you ever feel like Bruce Banner, so before he changes into the Hulk and he tells people, don't make me angry. You don't want to see me when I'm angry. That's how I feel about tangled yarn. The yarn, or it'll, you get a yarn barf that comes through. It's like, no, it was working so fine, and then the yarn barf comes through. No. Or instead of saying yarn barf, some people say that their skein of yarn had a baby, which I think is cute. Oh, back to the corner shelves. I need to get them dusted off. I still need to do that. I think I really need another set of hands to help me get them put up in the corners of my wall. And then I'm going to put my yarn thing by just putting the yarn cakes, my yarn cakes that I've caked up, and put them on there. Because you kind of need two hands for these shelves. Because one person's got, five. There is a knot. Oh, isn't that lovely? Well, at least there's only a little bit left. Okay. Kind of need. Okay, I think I got that one. Kind of need two hands anyway to do all the measuring and hammering it. Oh my goodness, my yarn has decided to wrap around my foot. Okay. I don't know why it did that. Up. Okay, yarn, cooperate with me. It just jumped out of there faster than I was ready for it. Okay. Ta-da! Another one. Another one bites the dust. Another one down, another one down, and another one bites the dust. Anyway. The other thing about these Granny Square card deck, and I definitely know I'm going to rely on this because unlike the other one, my other box square set, or not square set, the crochet stitch card deck gives you general directions. On the back side, they show you a pattern on one side and give you general directions on the other side. Whereas on this one, they show you a pattern, but then there is, okay, let me show you. I have to show you better than tell you. Like, here's the top card, your basic granny, right? And so here's the picture. But on the back side, it just has a graph. So I am definitely going to have to rely on this to read that, because I have trouble reading these. Okay. I mean, I need directions. I don't know why they didn't put directions on the back. That would have seemed the better idea. Yeah, they're all pretty much like that. I mean, it does give a note and a joining, but that's about it. It does say, see pages such and such for a symbol key. Why couldn't they just say, give you the plain instructions? That would have been so much easier. So much easier. Anyway, that's my only beef with it. But I am looking forward to doing these with you. And I also can't wait till summer and they come out with the floral ones, the ones with flowers on them. That's gonna be super sweet. That's gonna be awesome. Um, um, oh, earlier today, I did see um, a commercial, and I don't know this for a fact because I was just at Joann's over the weekend, and even then, their yarn stuff was still only 25% off when everything else was at higher, like 70, 80, and 90% off. But all the yarn stuff was still only at 25% off. But now in the commercial I saw today, it said for Joann that everything was like 70% off or 80% off or something like that. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to believe that when I see it. I mean, I know they're closing. And what really shocked me when I was in Joann's last weekend um, was that they still had signs inside the store um, asking people to join them, to become an employee there, which confounds me because I mean I love Joann's, don't get me wrong, um, but who wants to join? Who wants to become a new employee to a business that is closing? You want to go to a job where you're going to be at every day, not you're going to close like within the next month and then have to go look for another job. Now, if I was already working there, I would stay there until they finally closed its doors, but I wouldn't want to go there as a new job. No, that doesn't make any sense to me. Um, I don't care how much you wanted to tell me. No, that just doesn't seem like a smart move. Um, like I said, I love Joann's, but I don't know. Maybe that's why they got bankrupt a second time. I shouldn't make fun of Joann's. I shouldn't. Bad, Rachel. um, Anything else? I just need to do some spring cleaning in here. I showed you guys my haul last week when I went to I went thrift shopping. I showed you guys all that. So I still have all this to put away. This is another blanket down here that I've been working on for like for years. Um, Making all these chain links. I think I'm around 40 out of 50 links, and then I got to put a border around each of the links to make panels, and then I got to sew the panels together, and then I got to put a border around the whole entire thing. I'm making this for my step grandson, and when I started this, he was in elementary, like somewhere between third and fifth grade, and he's now like sixth or seventh grade. I think I'm gonna finally have it done by the time he graduates high school. That's my goal. Because with life and with life and doing the channel and when I make projects and I make things, I tend to make things for family as gifts. So there's so much stuff in front of it. um, There's just way too much in front of that. I just have a lot of little projects that I really need to get done. I figure if I get some stuff done, then I can get them off the floor and out of the way. Um, so when I got all the yarns, I found this hairpin lace um, thing. This is something I'm going to learn. Kind of scares me though. Hairpin lace kind of scares me. At least the art of making it and making it correctly. I mean, there's a lot of pretty work in hairpin lace, but trying to make it and make it correctly is a whole nother thing. So that's like in the back of my mind to learn to make. That's on my everything on my to-do list. I would love to learn how to do. Um, oh, and I've showed you this before. Sit here. I have a tripod that hopefully this summer I can take you on the road as long as there's Wi-Fi, good enough Wi-Fi somewhere. And we use this portable tripod, more portable tripod, to make videos outside. Like maybe I can go to the park, to one of the parks here in town, and we can crochet together, work on projects together. When I do a live, or if I just wanted to show how to do a particular stitch, or making some smaller projects. If you look at my channel, I do have some smaller, quick little projects. Like I've had scrunchies and bracelets. I found some more patterns. I think it was the Crochet in a Day, I think. If not, it's one of the other books I just got. I had a couple more patterns for scrunchies. I have some other bracelets. I had to go back and look at my videos to see if I've done those ones yet, because can't remember if I've done those patterns yet. But I know I have some more bracelet patterns. So, yep, there's a lot. There's a lot coming up. I also have I have over here, I've told you about this before, this stack of kits. They are kits of different animals. I also have some nutcrackers. One has a pair of nutcrackers, and one has some cacti. There's a Raggedy Ann. I really want this Raggedy Ann done, but I'm scared to do it because I don't want it to be messed up. Okay, little personal note. Personal note. Raggedy Ann. I don't. I want somebody else to do it for me that knows how to do people in the most awesome way, and I know somebody who could really do that. Um, and she's another. Uh, I'm gonna say her name. I'm gonna say her channel incorrectly. Something about frog. I know I'm saying it wrong. Froggy went in knitting. She really does people amigurumi really, really good. I might send her the Raggedy Ann and the Nutcrackers and see if she'll, when she gets done, she could send them back to me. The Nutcrackers because I collect Nutcrackers. But the Raggedy Ann, I would especially like back because when my mother was alive and I was a little girl, every night before we go to bed, I mean, she would read books to me too, but she used to make up the most wonderful, wonderful Raggedy Ann and Andy. Oh, I think she's too far down there. She is. She's at the very bottom. She's at the very bottom. She's at the pattern at the very bottom. My mom used to tell the most wonderful Raggedy Ann and Andy stories, and she would make them up. She would make up the most incredible stories of the adventures of Raggedy Ann and Andy and all their friends. Before, as a story, she would make up these stories, the most wonderful stories, before going to bed, and as well as reading stories, the real books of Raggedy Ann and Andy, and all kinds of golden books, and tons of and Dr. Seuss and all kinds of other books. But she used to make up. She was really good at making up stories. And sometimes she would make up stories with my stuffed animals and my dolls, and so that's why I would like somebody who can really do people extremely well, because I'm afraid to do people. That is one thing I'm a little afraid of. I'm a little afraid to do it, totally mess up. Um, so I don't want to mess them up because in these kits, not only are you working with very thin yarn and like these little tiny plastic G hooks, do they usually give you? Is it in here? They might be in my. Yeah, they are. Or in my mug. In those kits, they always give you these little tiny. If you can see it. These little skinny plastic hooks. And I think they're like a G. I think it actually says. It does. It actually says 5 millimeter, I think, on here. I don't know. But it's. And. Oh, I just don't want to mess them up. I don't mind trying one of the animals, maybe. Because I actually have a dog there and a unicorn over there that I've trying. Well, actually, what I did was I took my own yarn, took that same pattern, used my own yarn, and made a bigger version, started to make a bigger version of it. But I need to make the actual pattern on there, put them together. And if I can do that, then I know I can do the rest of the animals. The people ones I know I'm not going to trust myself with. Although there is a Winnie the Pooh one, but I'm not sure what animal is in that one. I think it might be Winnie the Pooh, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it in a while. Might ask somebody else to do that one as well. Because that's somebody you don't want. Because that's like somebody, and they also have a Rudolph. It needs to be done, and I'm kind of scared to do. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not that good with amigurumi. I was like all excited about these kits, and then I got scared as soon as I got them. um, and anyway, but yeah, Raggedy Ann and Andy were real, real important story time in my life when I was a little kid. So, with that, um, it has been about an hour now. Yes. So I will let you all go. You all have a very wonderful Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday, and then it's the weekend. I have to work this weekend. Um, and then next week I think I'm off Tuesday. Yeah, I believe I'm off Tuesday. I have to look at my schedule. I believe I'm off Tuesday next week. Um, so if I get it, I am working on another stitch. Once I get that one packed down, then I'm working on another stitch. Once I get that figured out, then I will show you that one. Oh goodness, you know you're old when you need help getting up. But I hope you guys are having fun learning the stitches right along with me. I know a lot of them are real easy, simple stitches, but there are people out there who are still who are just learning, and a lot of those I am learning right along with you because I've never done them before. And there's some in there I have never even knew that was a name for a stitch. Um, I never heard of that stitch before, so we're having fun with that. So, love y'all. Bye.